everybody, welcome back to Kate Rebel's Realm. I'm Kate Rebel and this is my little gaming channel. Today we are doing the Nightmare Council. I'm going to be reading the heroes' stories and we're going to go through at least half of the epics, so I'm pretty pumped about it. This will be part 1. I'm going to be posting about 3 different videos per faction. And yeah, I'm loving it. It's so much fun, and honestly, the Nightmare Council is one of my favorites. It has a lot of my favorite heroes, so I'm very excited to get into it. Okay, the Nightmare Council, here we go. We are starting off with Sorzus. This little guy. The Nightmare Council is like my favorite though, so we'll get through it. Knowledge is power. Wisdom is the most significant difference between me and those brainless worms. His words, not mine. As the advisor to the Nightmare Legion, Sorzus excels in using his superior wisdom to toy with his enemies. He is elegant and cruel at the same time, seeing the torture of enemies as a symbol of loyalty to the Nightmare Legion. Sorzus is convinced that this loyalty will eventually bring him supreme glory. If you think that's going to bring you glory, I wish we could read what he's reading. It's so bad. Oh, I wish I had comprehend languages! Vladov! The subjugation of the werewolves by the vampires of the Sanguise Mountains was a period of monumental change for werewolf kind. A group that had once been free to roam the mountains and hunt, feasting in noble halls, was brought to its knees, enslaved, and starved of freedom to serve their vampire overlords. Yet the werewolf spirit lives as free and as violent as ever, proven by the vengeance of Vladov the Bloodtooth. With his pack all murdered or enslaved by vampires, Vladov was left orphaned as a cub. So small was he that he managed to escape the ferocity of the vampires, raising himself in the mountains where he continued to hunt and prey as his pack had once done on anything he could find, including vampires. All that kept him going was the satisfaction of killing all he could, making him one of the most feared werewolves in vampire outposts. Vampires in these remote strongholds would tell stories of a savage and rabid werewolf, reeking of blood and fur, with a hunger for their flesh. After more than a decade had passed in this manner, Vladov started to kill more elite vampires and targeted the ministers of the Night Empress for revenge. Infuriated by losing some of her most diligent servants, the Night Empress hatched a scheme to trap Vladov, sending one of her ministers transporting werewolf slaves into his territory as bait. Vladov could not resist and attacked the minister, but was ambushed by vampire soldiers. Just as he was about to be slain by the vampires who captured him, Lagaru, the true king of the werewolves, arrived with his band of warriors and massacred them. Vladov was saved along with the werewolf slaves and forced to accept Lagaru as his king, bending the knee in exchange for Lagaru's hiring him for his services. Fortunately, Lagaru shared Vladov's love for violence and hatred of vampires. Vladov now stalks the mountains and continues to kill any enemies of the werewolves, driven by a hatred for all outsiders and dreaming of ripping out the innards of the Night Empress as she did to his own pack. Serving as Lagaru's chief assassin, he tells himself he is just proud of his heritage and determined to help usher in an age of werewolf vengeance. Yet all he now truly cares about is blood, it doesn't matter whose, and the call of the free wild. Not even the head of the Night Empress herself would satisfy Vladov's bloodlust for long. He's such an angry dog! Look at he has actual bloodlust radiating off of his body right now. He's so angry, oh my goodness. Drayga! Let's go! Little orc girl action! The Reformed Shield. An orc who defends the weak. Disgusting. Her time will come. Berserker. Okay, so we're doing the Nightmare Council, but so far I feel like they've been kind of nice. So let's see how it goes. In a land as untamed as Taya, seeking mercy is akin to pursuing fairness in a den of cutthroats, cheats, and thieves. Compassion is seldom rewarded, especially among orcish clans, where kindness is viewed as a fatal flaw. When a berserker known as Drayga first encountered a gargantuan ogre, he seemed nothing more than a prestigious mark that could elevate her status among the clans. Eventually, this gentle beast would forever transform her life and perspective. With rippling muscles and a wild mane of unkempt crimson hair, Drayga was the epitome of brutality on the battlefield. Her methods of ending life were so savage, even her clansmen avoided her for fear of provoking her wrath. Discontent with her countless victories, Drayga set off to find an opponent to match her prowess and end her complacency. Into the northern hinterlands she stalked, a storm of rage incarnate, until finally she discovered something of note, an ogre's tracks. After tracking the great beast to its lair, she leapt from a ledge intent on lopping off its head with one stroke of her mighty axe. But the ogre sidestepped Drayga, and she crashed into a wall. Instead of attacking, however, he appeared to look through her with eyes of sorrow before lumbering away. The retreat infuriated the berserker, and a game of cat and mouse commenced. Drayga would track the ogre and attempt to strike, yet again and again he would peacefully thwart her efforts. Upon entering an icy glade, shock overtook Drayga as she witnessed the ogre attempting to lift a fallen tree from a trapped woodsman. Confusion overtook the orc, followed by a feeling she could not articulate. She watched him struggle with the great log before finally lending a hand to save the man. Afterward, Drayga learned the ogre's name, Crodor, the glacial guardian. She wondered why such a powerful creature would show mercy to a man who would have no doubt labeled him a monster. Building a fire, Crodor explained his beliefs in the preservation of life. Slowly she drank in his words like much-needed water before looking down at hands long stained with blood. In the quiet dusk, Crodor placed a great hand upon her shoulder and spoke gently. "We are what we grow into, not what we were." A gentle giant, making Drayga peaceful. She's got a heart. You gave this berserker a reason to be alive and to help people. Another werewolf, another dog. Deimos, bane of vampires. Deimos rips enemies to shreds. His strikes against the same enemies compound. Okay, Deimos, let's go. Waiting to strike. Fear the nights when the wolves are silent and only the moon howls. Unknown. Born and raised a werewolf, Deimos, deemed blood hunter, has long held a deep resentment for vampires. After losing the War of the Blood Moon, werewolves were enslaved and slaughtered by vampires across the realm. After a century of this carnage had passed, Deimos believed it was time for change. The werewolf founded a vampire hunting syndicate called the Blood Hunters. Their goal? To overthrow the power-mad vampires and kill all who had contributed to the enslavement of his kind. Wielding an uncommon amount of charm for one of his prowess, Deimos managed to forge alliances with other races and mercenary groups, earning his band a reputation for being fearless hunters. He's just got the charm. He's got the charm. He's got the looks. Look at those eyes. Those eyes say leader. Those eyes say, I trust this guy. Those eyes say, let's have a conversation. What was that? Those eyes say, nothing. I'm just a cool guy. He even took in an orphan off the street one faithful night and kept her safe from harm after vampires had massacred her home. Deimos would become a father figure to the girl until yet again the vampires took from him that which he cherished. Betrayed by someone he trusted, vampires infiltrated Deimos' base and bit many blood hunters, turning them into vampires against their will. One victim was the orphan he'd become a father figure to. Deimos flew into a rage, slaughtering all in his path. He began savagely massacring vampire camps with wild abandon until Nyx, vampire daughter of the Night Empress, stopped him. Instead of killing him, she listened to his heartbreak, his pain, and fell in love? Oh my god, no! Oh my god, okay, the last faction was quite tame, but the first one, the Watchguard faction had some interloping relations and things happening, and this is getting juicy. Nyx and Deimos? Today, with a vampire by his side, Deimos has rebuilt the Blood Hunters in order to finally overthrow vampire tyranny and put an end to their bloody rule over the Sanguis Mountains. So Nyx teamed up with him because she didn't like how the vampires were, and he didn't like how the vampires were, but he had a little bit of change of heart because he fell in love with a girl. He fell in love once and almost completely. Greed, you better have a little love story going on, because let's be real, if anyone has charisma and charm, it's Greed. But it looks like I am at the end of the video, so stay tuned for part 2 to hear about the rest of the Nightmare. So stay tuned for the rest of the Nightmare Council in the next video. We will start off with Greed in the next one. I guess I got a little bit carried away, but we'll do the rest of the epics in part 2. So please check that out, and thank you so much. I'm Kate Rebel. This is Kate Rebel's Realm, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Bloodtooth! Bloodtooth, Bloodtooth, Bloodtooth. How you sidestepping with a size 7 men's on? It just makes me so happy that Deimos found Nyx and that everything's okay, and there's love in the world, and maybe they can get his orphan child back. I love Nyx, though. I'm excited to read her story next. Hopefully she talks about Deimos as well as he talked about her, because I don't like when one hero talks about a different hero and then the other hero doesn't talk about them. I want to read it, but I don't want to spoil it for myself. I like reading them for the first time with you guys, so I'm gonna wait. Take me as your leader. Take me, Deimos. Okay, let's keep going. Who said it? Not me. Wasn't me. Oh, I just wanted to add that. Thanks.